both guys cost almost 200 million pounds, and for lack of use of a better word, I never like to say players are useless, but they've not lived up to anything.
Not even close. The number one player United wanted to ship out, really, in the transfer, was David De Gea. He was the
Are you kidding me? Your player of the season?
Eddie Nketiah or Højlund? Who would you rather have in this current Man United?
Højlund.
Over Eddie Nketiah?
Yes.
Manchester United making the top 4 will not depend on Manchester United.
Please expand.
It will depend on how good the other
teams.
It will depend on how good the other top teams are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, you're welcome. This is a new season of your Budweiser Kings of Football show. I am Folajimi Oluwasegun, James Akinshola, but you can simply call me Jimmy. Now, a lot of people might not have enjoyed the way last season ended, except you're a Man City fan. But some of us are still hopeful that this season will give us something better to look forward to. Now, I'm not alone in the studio. My brother, my friend, even though he's doing something that I really don't understand, he's going to explain that by himself. But ladies and gentlemen, especially the ladies that do love my brother, the one and only, Ozomena. How you feeling, bro?
No, I'm feeling good. And the annoying part is that towards the end of the season, you left me and you were all the way in Rwanda. The funny thing is, I'll leave the studio every day after trying to defend Arsenal and getting bashed. I'll go on IGN and I see Jimmy posting he's walking out from a store in Rwanda. I'm like, who is this guy? You're meant to have my back. But anyway,
I could hear Chewy going in at you.
I think there was one of the episodes. I think you were able to like call in. You had some time and then you gave your opinion. But I mean, it's a new season on and also the beginning of a new Budweiser King of Football show. So really excited.
Yeah, a lot of people might be wondering, have you changed your allegiance? You're wearing a Liverpool shirt.
No. So now I'll just give a brief background. So one of my favorite throwback football players is Steve Nichols. Steve Nichols does ESPN FC, and he once I think there was a season he was actually PFA Player of the Year. He was a left back for Liverpool, so he had the crown paint thing. So this year, just look out for me wearing lots of throwback jerseys. That's for sure.
Wow,
but no Man United and no Tottenham jerseys. I can't. My skin will crawl and burn.
Are you gonna do a Chelsea?
I would see.
We'll see.
We'll see about that.
We'll definitely be hearing more from Ozo as it concerns Chelsea because he seems to have an inside look into that. But on the other side, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the thorn in my flesh is still in my flesh. He is the one and only Biola Kazeem. Biola, how you doing today?
Hey, Jimmy, great to be here. Brand new season, brand new show. But like you said, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm so not a fan of this.
I'm not going anywhere. And you're talking about the season not ending the way most people like, except the Man City fans. Like, it ended exactly how I predicted. Like, I was here every week telling you that Arsenal were not going to win the league.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we like to always bring a different insights into what we do right here on the Kings of Football show. And we try to bring actual kings onto the show. Please make welcome an ex-international. It doesn't mean he used to be on Twitter. An ex-international, the one and only Sunday Olise. Big man. You're welcome, sir.
Hello everybody. Thanks for having me on your show.
You still feel sorry for Arsenal fans? I mean, thank you so much for your love. But in saying that, Biola, I do feel like you are in a position of strength when it comes to this weekend.
Manchester United. In
reference to how the transfer window has played out for you. Would you say Arsenal had a better transfer window?
Yeah, I think that ultimately United did really well in the transfer market. Addressed a couple of key areas, not least getting in Amrabat into the midfield. I thought that maybe Mount was not exactly the profile that United fans want. I think that Ten Hag wants a midfielder that can get forward quickly, that can join the press, that can help him win possession, further up the pitch. And I think that was primary reason why he got Mount. Not least as well, Mount getting quite a number of goals. I think he can average maybe 7-8 goals. If you can get that much from midfield, not a bad idea. But I think that Amrabat will go on to be a more fundamental player, to how United play. First of all, Casemiro will have some help, in the middle of the park. It seems like all United midfielders and forwards like to stay forward. And so when we lose possession, Casemiro has to deal with all of that.
Right.
coming at him. I think that at the back as well was really, I don't want to say it was really, really great, but we got a decent goalkeeper from Fenerbahce. Like I always say to people, even though I'm not sure he's a great goalkeeper, but if you are able to be number one at Fenerbahce and keep for the, play for the Turkish national team, you really can't be that bad. But most importantly, United got a striker. The profile of United last season was such that there wasn't one single player you could depend on as an out-and-out striker. United and Arsenal considered the same number of goals, but Arsenal scored about 30 more goals. That alone, pretty much says it. So in addressing that need, even though the player is just 19 years old, I think that United, with an out-and-out striker who's fit and firing, can easily add about 20 goals to what he did last season. And if they do that, guaranteed, the title might be coming to Manchester. This time,
hello,
the Mr. Man, say your own. Let me say my own.
Hey, now wow, it's
Say
too
your
early.
own. Let me say my own.
It's too early. Tottenham have
Do
been
you?
saying that Tottenham beat you, then sent you a player to help you heal your wounds.
Do you? I do.
Wow.
If you look at United going into the transfer window,
Right.
who was the number one player United actually wanted to ship out?
To
Maguire.
ship out.
Maguire.
No, he wasn't the number one player.
No, hold on.
Are you kidding me?
I'm
You
giving
didn't
wasn't
want.
number one
You
player
didn't-
wanted to
you
ship
don't-
out.
Who was the number one player?
Who was number one?
No, the number one player United wanted to ship out really in the transfer
Really?
was David De Gea. He was the
Are you
player that
kidding
was,
me? Your player of
he
the
was
season?
He was the most
Okay,
fundamental. No.
okay,
I'm not saying I agree, but I'm saying that the unanimous
Alright, let's go.
verdict
Let's
by
go.
United
Okay,
fans
okay,
is that
they-
in the way that United want to play.
He didn't fit in.
Exactly.
Okay,
He's
no
knocked
problem.
out like a
that's
salt
fine.
on.
Okay,
Him and Maguire,
that's fine.
basically.
Him and Maguire, definitely. But Maguire stayed back. Now, you've invested a whole lot of money to sign Rasmus Højlund. Now, if you've seen bits and pieces of him, he looks like he's talented.
Right.
But if I asked you now, looking at the English Premier League,
Yeah,
Eddie Nketiah or Højlund, who would you rather have in this current Man United team?
Højlund.
Over Eddie Nketiah?
Yes. You asked me a question, I answered.
From what you've seen from both of them, from their
Do you
career
have an
so
answer
far?
you want to hear, or you want to hear my answer?
Okay,
Because
that's
I've given
fine.
you my answer.
Okay. But so far in their careers, who has scored more goals?
Of course, Nketiah. He's also older. He's also played more games. These things work. These things work together.
No, but the things you're saying are contradicting your initial
Højlund is
assessments.
19.
So why would you take him over Nketiah?
Exactly.
Why?
So
Because I think that in the way United want
who
to
would
play,
score more
is more
goals in the Premier
suited.
League, that Nketiah or Højlund?
We have to wait and see.
If you're trying to term the Manchester United's window as something that
Look,
was
when you
great,
buy a
what I'm
19-year-old,
saying-
you are buying potential. And so it's a bit difficult. At 19, where was Nketiah? He was out in Leeds farming the championship. These young boys at 19.
I wouldn't say he was
Manchester
farming the
United.
championship.
I
I think
wouldn't
he
say
was
he was
he was
farming the
honing his
championship. He was playing
trade.
really well.
He was honing in his
He was doing
trade.
really well.
Højlund was
While at
doing
Leeds.
well at 18 at Atlanta in Syria.
Yeah, scoring
If you
9
drop
goals.
Nketiah at 19 in Syria, he
Scoring
will disappear
9
without
goals.
trace.
How do you know this?
How do you know that Nketiah is going to score more goals?
How the same way you don't know that Højlund will score goals in the Premier League.
And I said,
Now-
let's
now-
wait
now-
and see.
Everything is all hypothetical.
And I said, let's wait and see. That was what I said.
For me,
But let me bring in the vet on this. But finish up.
One last one is
Yeah.
now the most damning signing for me for United was getting Reguilon. Now, if you're Manchester United, you're here.
Yeah.
Everyone believes that Tottenham is somewhere 2 steps or 3 steps below Man United.
Yeah.
And you're getting someone that cannot even get into the Tottenham
Tottenham
squad.
team.
Yeah.
And you're bringing. Yes, I know that. What
It was to satisfy a need,
Exactly.
I think.
What United will
And I'm
argue
really-
is to say that they needed a body. But what I felt is for the club of the stature of Man United, there are better bodies you could bring in than bring in Reguilon.
So, and I'm happy that an ex-international, an ex-captain, an ex-Super Eagles manager is here with us.
Coach.
And he will help us clarify this. Number one is that United's number one left back is Luke Shaw. He's injured for
Okay.
about 3 months.
Right.
You don't want to bring in a player
That will
who
give
is probably-
competition.
That's number one, because also big players command big wages. The second, the next option is Malacia, who is also injured for a few months. He's going to be back within the season. The third option is to either play Dalot there, but once you play Dalot there, that means that
We're
on the
losing
right
out
hand side
something on the
you
other
have you have nothing. You know, if something happens to Wan-Bissaka, so when you bring in a body, he's only complementary. Also, don't forget that this Reguilon signing happened in transfer window. You don't have a lot of time to scout. You do
Deadline
the
day.
easiest, best deal. The other option is to play a young man, Alvaro Fernandez. But it's clear that if EH wants to go, look, United won a trophy last season. Arsenal didn't do that. United finished third
All right,
last
at
season.
this point in time, let us bring
land.
in.
Let me
Like, you're
land.
already taking shots now. Which one be that?
But like I said, United won the trophy last season. Arsenal didn't do that. United finished third. The next step is to push forward. And so if you have to play a player from the U team, or you
Arsenal
play a
won a
player
trophy this season.
with-
United haven't.
That's not a trophy.
It's a trophy.
It's a tray, man.
Jose Mourinho called it a trophy.
It's a tray.
No. Let's be honest. Mourinho called
You
it
know
a
what?
trophy.
If I let you guys go on, we'll be here the entire season.
All right.
But let me
we
get
plan to be here the entire season.
I mean, we're not going to leave the studio. Big Boss, as you answer this regular question, I also want you to expand generally into how you assess the transfer window of the Premier League teams specifically, because we can talk about PSG doing all that purchasing. We could talk about Real Madrid bringing in all that good stuff in the midfield, but we want to focus on the Premier League. So after you answer Biola's Regulon question, I would like to have your assessment as to who you think had the best transfer window.
Well, he said a lot of things, and it's very interesting things also. But before we delve into it, let's ask ourselves one question: that the transfer window does not start 1st of July.
No.
If you're a serious club, with all due respect, with a serious club, your transfer window already starts in January for June. You have your scouting, you have your planning, you have your negotiations. There are negotiations going on the ground. Managers have been spoken to. It's always going. Any serious club has already had their players they want to sign.
So they are not a serious club. Thank you so much.
No. I don't want to. I'm just saying. I'm saying any serious club. So I am assuming that all the players Man United signed now, they had already discussed with them at least.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Maybe at the end, it was just the final issues they were just discussing about who's getting this,
agree.
my agent fees, club fees, and all that. Those are the things. So, and at the end of the day, you can buy everybody from the world. At the end of the day, what matters for any team to succeed is the philosophy and the ability to make players gel together.
Correct.
Now, you are buying players. With all due respect to Manchester United, I think they are going to, if they are not careful, they are going to go into a very horrible season this year. They bought some players. They bought some, at the end of last season, when you look at Manchester United, a lot of shortcomings were forgiven because of the Ronaldo saga.
Right.
Everything was on Ronaldo, pushed on him and everything. Okay, you can't blame Ronaldo anymore. He's gone.
Facts.
Now, Manchester United last season played a lot of counter-attacking football. Look, I was blessed to play in 3 world top teams. As a top team, you can never play counter-attack against a team that is mid-table.
That's true.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
You can only play counter-attack when you go away against a team that is as good as you are.
That's true.
And you now want to invite them out because you want to hurt them from the back.
Yes.
And that's what they were doing. Now, tactically, I think for them to play, they bought a very promising Hojlund. And you were trying to compare him to the now confirmed Haaland from Manchester City. Haaland was already tearing goals all over German league. The German league is not a small league.
Of course.
He did that also in Austria. So these were already confirmed players. What bothers me about Manchester United is the balance of the team.
Right.
Look at the players Manchester United have in the midfield. You cannot play Casemiro and Amrabat and not suffer at the same time.
Offensively.
If your most offensive player is your defensive midfielder, you have a problem. If the player that scores most for you is your central defender, you have a problem. If you play a team that is average on the league and they have more possession than you and you're a top team,
it's a problem.
Have a problem. That means you're running after the ball instead of the one that is active. You are reactive. That is not happening. Now, one of the best things Manchester United did is buy Andre Onana. You can say all what you want, but this man,
He influences
I'm
the
not
style
biased
of
because
play.
I'm African, even if I should be.
It's fine. Exactly. I was going to
But
say.
But it's because of the fact that I watch Ajax a lot and I saw him play live minimum, I think, 15 times. He's a player, very intelligent, very smart, and he's a player with personality. And he's a goalkeeper that can help you with the modern football playing out from the back. He might exaggerate, like you saw in the friendly game where he was lobbed from almost 40 meters up. But at the same time, he's an asset to the team. Now, if you're buying Mason Mount, ask yourself a question. What did he do last year at Chelsea?
At Chelsea.
The demands at Manchester United is higher than Chelsea. That is one thing you must also look at. Amrabat is a very, very good player to buy.
Would you say they had a good transfer window?
My brother, good enough. It's at May 2024. We will know.
So in saying that, who do you think
That
had
means
the
it's not
best?
so bad. That means it's not so bad, right?
We shall see. But who do you think had the best transfer window in terms of players bought in?
I have 4 clubs who I think did a very good transfer window. You know, I'm looking at West Ham.
1,
I'm looking at Aston Villa.
Aston Villa. 2.
Aston Villa. I think they did very well. I'm disappointed at what Arsenal did, so I'm not going to go into that one. But I think to a large extent, Man United did well. They did well.
So our hot take on the show that I would like for us to discuss is Erik ten Hag's Manchester United. Are they good enough to make the top 4 this season? For those listening on X Space, we would also like to get your opinions on this. We'll be letting you in the space shortly. But right now, I want to start off with big coach over here. Erik ten Hag's Manchester United, are they good enough to make the top 4 this season?
Manchester United making the top 4 will not depend on Manchester United.
Please expand.
It will depend on how good the other
teams.
It will depend on how good the other top teams are. If the other top teams bring their A game to the table this season, I don't think they will make 4th place. Tottenham is not bad.
No.
Losing Harry Kane, I've always felt it's a blessing to lose him. They are confirming it's a blessing to have lost him. Arsenal is going to be up there.
Facts.
They might struggle because of the Champions League, because it's going to be double face now. But Arsenal is going to be up there now. Brighton, if they are not bad, so it's going to be a struggle. And I keep repeating, Emery is somebody you should not play with.
I know you like Emery a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Well, now that Amrabat is here, I do feel now that Højlund is here, United can be a more settled side. If you look at the stats, United are winning more possession than anybody up front. With a striker, you should be converting that to more chances, and with it, should be scoring more goals. I think that if United score maybe 20 more goals than last season, top 4 is absolutely sure.
Had Amrabat not played the World Cup he played, would you have considered him at all to come to Manchester United?
I don't think he would.
I don't think he's had the profile. But the way I look at transfers is that they are the obvious transfers where we all see. And then there are players who are bubbling under the surface, as you would know. And then they'll get a platform like the World Cup, like AFCON, to really, really shine.
Last season, before the World Cup, Amrabat was one of the most criticized players at Fiorentina by the local press. So, he was a lot being criticized because a very good friend of mine, Zaccheroni, that you know now, he lives not too far from there. So we're always looking at it. And that is why I repeat what I told you. It does not really depend on Manchester United. It depends on the transfers. It depends on how they are used.
Yeah.
And how the other top teams bring their word to this game. It's going to be an exciting season.
I'd like to give context and be objective. The thing is, when you look at the United team, it's all about the balance in the team.
Right.
And now Amrabat is in. What I'm thinking is he's probably going to play with 2 holding midfielders, which is
in the big games.
In the big games, which is Casemiro and Amrabat. The problem now, which Olise mentioned, is if Casemiro is your forward-thinking guy that's going to be making those added runs from that deep line role, you actually have a problem, because you have a Bruno Fernandes that I've complained here like last season. He's very, very inconsistent. He's just like a yo-yo guy, up and down every single time. The big problem for United is on the flanks. Now, if Højlund comes in, then you have Rashford on one side. That kind of helps you solve the problem, because let's be honest, you cannot in any way, shape or form count on Anthony or Sancho. Those 2 guys...
Based on last season? No.
Last season and this season.
That's a fact. You can't count on them.
Both guys cost almost £200 million. And for lack of a better word, I never like to say players are useless, but they've not lived up to anything.
Not even
all.
close.
So Anthony, you just used that to say they are useless.
No, I wouldn't do that. Okay. But so the problem is, now defensively, we know that at a certain point during the season, Varane is going to get injured. We already know that.
He's already injured.
So exactly. So you pen that in. You're going to bring in Maguire that the fans do not really want to bring in. So if you look at the balance of United, they are not a stable side at the moment.
So now this leads me to my sub hot take, which is in some way directed to Sunday right now. You mentioned the fact that Tottenham are the better for Harry Kane leaving. So I ask you this: is Tottenham under and Postecoglou a better coach team than Manchester United?
We have to see how they all fare against the top teams also when they play each other. But it is looking at the moment as if they're a better coach team. Because if you're gonna judge, the transfers you make are important, but the most important thing are not the transfers you make.
It's your style of play.
Because you had 1 month to do a preseason to set up your philosophy, your movement. The transfer is just to be like an added cherry on the pie.
Fair enough. We have some comments. A lot of people raising their hands on our X space right now. Love yours. I see you, Tommyson. I see you as well, and of course Nigerian Scouser. Tommyson, if you're ready to give me your comment, I'd like to give you the floor.
So yeah, as regarding Manchester United, why I think is they are not going to make top 4 this season, and it's not going to be as a result of Eric Ten Hag's.
Wait, what team do you support? You're so sure about this team. What team do you support?
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Oh, there you go. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
The thing is, I heard you guys arguments, or I heard you guys point about is Tottenham looking a better coach side than United right now. And
do you agree?
I think in the moment there are a lot of problems with Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag. The problem of the board, some of them not being able to get the players that they wanted on time, plus some injuries that they're having. So I think that's contributing.
There's a bigger problem than does the coach.
Because if you look back to last season, apart from those blips here and there where they were getting smashed by Liverpool, by Brentford and all, Manchester United actually looked like a really scary team. So this season, the only reason I think they are going to find it tough to qualify for top 4 is because of a lack of quality depth.
I hear your points. Your points are well noted, but we do have to move on with the show, as it were. Having said that, let's touch on all the other games as quickly as possible. The first one I want to talk about, I don't want to go to Ozone. Let me come to you. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Yep. Now, Nottingham Forest have reinforced, as they always do every season. Yeah. I don't know why they keep doing the same thing. It's quite crazy.
It's a carousel over there. Players in, players out. I don't know where they keep all these players.
Their dressing room is almost as big as Chelsea's now.
Definitely has to
be. But having said that, Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest, both teams recruited heavy, but haven't actually had the best start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with Chelsea, you get the feeling that things can get better for them. They've spent a lot of money, 1 billion, so it's a bit difficult for anybody to feel any level of empathy for them. I imagine that they need to, start flying. But here's the point: they finished 12th last season, and it might take a bit of time for Pochettino, to get them together.
I mean, it almost seems like I always say negative things about Chelsea, but to give them some credit here, people always like to put so much emphasis on that Chelsea have spent £1 billion. If you look at Chelsea's net spend this season, they've actually spent less than Arsenal. Because if you look at the outgoing...
Oh, they sold really well.
Exactly. So they sold really well.
They sold really well to Arsenal too.
No, exactly. I mean, they did. And when you look at that, it balances the books, especially if you're a nerd about...
just one point before you go too far. Now that Jimmy has mentioned it very quickly, Havertz, £65 million. What were you guys thinking when you paid all that money for him? Do you think it's a good signing?
I could ask you the same question about Mason Mount. It's just that simple.
Like I said, we can have these two bickering on these issues all day.
But Jimmy, but to make the point, what I'm saying is, I think Chelsea are a better side. The problem for me with Chelsea's transfer strategy is you're bringing a whole lot of young players. And I remember last season I said some of these players will go on to do great things, but not at Chelsea.
Right.
Because at a certain point, the Chelsea fans are accustomed to winning. And all these guys are all young players. You don't have... I mean, Thiago Silva is probably the most experienced head, I would say, that they have in that locker room. I mean, he is actually. Let's be honest.
So, in a nutshell, you're kind of agreeing that Chelsea's going to win this game?
No, in a nutshell, I'm saying Chelsea will win this game. But what I'm saying is Chelsea would actually still struggle this year because you have lots of young players and you don't have so much experienced players.
But they have one thing going for them. They will play once a week, and I think that's critical.
Man City versus Fulham. Alex Iwobi's joined Fulham. Paulinho...
His transfer didn't happen.
It didn't happen, so he's going to be back in the team. Also, we're looking at the Man City team that also infused a new player in Nunes. So how do you see this game playing out? Remember, Manchester City haven't exactly sparkled at the start of the season.
To start with, Manchester City, they don't need to sparkle now.
Facts.
That's one of the secrets of champions. Like I remember when we were at Juventus, we were never... Our obsession was not to be first before Christmas. We had to be second. That was one of the things. If we are first, good, but with no obsession. The important thing was to be first from February onwards. Now, if you're looking at it now, Man City is a team in the sense that the philosophy is very clear.
Right.
But it's just what changes every year is just how it is animated.
Okay.
And that is what you're going to see this year. One thing that you should expect, I don't see Fulham coming out of this game with any result today, unless Man City shoot themselves in the foot. So,
of course.
like,
Coach, I know we are all Arsenal fans here, so we're going to, well, even though we're not putting it out there that you are an Arsenal fan, but I'm saying from the way you speak passionate about the team, you kind of have a soft spot for them as well, no?
I am not an Arsenal fan. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not an Arsenal fan. And in fact, I follow philosophies.
Right.
Like I love watching Aston Villa play. I love watching Brighton play. I love watching Man City play.
I think that
I love watching Arsenal of last season
because you work very closely with Arsene Wenger. Because you work very closely with Arsene Wenger with FIFA, Jimmy assumes that Wenger has convinced you to support Arsenal.
Well, I'm not assuming, I'm hoping, because I want everybody on my side.
But Arsene has Arsenal in his blood. His name is almost Arsenal.
That's why Jimmy thinks that because he sees you Arsene all the time at World Cups and you guys work on the technical study group. You think that at some point he will have given you a jersey
for my
sake, at the back.
Just be claiming Arsenal anywhere you go, please, for us. It's time to talk about the biggest game of the weekend. Arsenal at home to Manchester United. We've spoken at length about Manchester United. To some people, they might think we're bad Bele United fans, but we're not.
But that's what you are.
No. So now we're not going to talk about Manchester United. We're going to talk about Arsenal. A lot of questions have been thrown in terms of why is Arteta experimenting? What is this love affair with Kai Havertz? Why do we feel like playing Partey at right back is a solution to Zinchenko not being available? All these questions have been put out there. I ask you a question today. How do you see Mikel Arteta lining up his squad, knowing that Gabriel Jesus is back, Nketiah is scoring, and that midfield needs some assurance that it will be solid against the Manchester United side that now has reinforcements?
Yep.
Don't take this personal, but I'm a bit biased.
Go ahead.
I'm a bit biased because I'm biased in the sense that I think Arsenal have gold in their hands,
right?
But they're not respecting that gold.
Please explain.
Nketiah is exceptional. I will even prefer to play Nketiah than Jesus.
Yeah.
That is the difference. Because what he brings to you, now, he needs polishing as regards finishing.
Right.
But when you're talking of the fight, the movements, the running into holes, coming in and out of it, this boy multiplies it in all the games I've seen him play.
Facts.
That is one thing. I still cannot understand the Arsenal madness with going to recruit players from Chelsea. With all due respect.
Tell me about
that's why I say I am biased. Now, they did it already with Jorginho, which I found a mistake, and now doing it with Havertz, with all due respect, I think it's a mistake too. But then, who am I? I'm not God. But at the end of the day, if you look at it like this, what I think is that Arsenal is still a very solid team. Very, very solid team. And in this, very, very solid in the sense that all he has to do is play the right materials. I see them dominating Man United tomorrow. Why is that? In the sense that, one, Arsenal is playing home. Two, the way Man United, if you're going to be playing two central defenders, that means already you are coming, the central defensive midfielders, you're coming to the game to play deep. So that means the opposition will have possession more than you will have. So, and that is something that Arsenal is very good at. And if you're playing deep, it is good for Saka. He will run less backwards.
Facts.
That means he will be more in the offensive zones to do what he has to do, what he's very good at doing. Arsenal's problem, in my opinion, has to do with more team selection because they have the quality to go. And let's face it, Arsenal's goalkeeper is one of the best in the league. I think they're really okay.
So, coach, let me put you to the test. Let me put you on the spot. Who would you start?
Yeah,
Raya or Ramsdale in goal? Ramsdale. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jimmy. He is also
Ozo.
And the man that is being our virtual guest is, of course, the one and only Sunday Olise. Please, your final word as you take us home, sir.
Oh, it's going to be a great season. Thanks for having me on your show. Like the last time, I had a lot of fun. And my Man United brother there is too Man United for everybody. So take it easy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you for joining us. Always. Make sure you.
God bless you. Thanks.
And for all our people on X, Please make sure you stay tuned. And of course, you can join us on YouTube. We'll be uploading different aspects of this show on YouTube. Check us out on our YouTube page, which is, of course, Budweiser Nigeria. Make sure you be a part of that. Thank you all so much for joining. Ozo, got a last word?
No, I just thank you so much. And keep it locked here as well, because you stand a chance to win a whole lot from us this season.
For sure. Biola?
I had a lot of fun. We'll be back here next week, hopefully with a United winner. So I can banter the
This
hell
is
out
why I
of
don't
you
give you
guys.
the final word on the show, because you will say something United. Ladies and gentlemen, Arsenal to win by 3-1.
Put your money
Peace,
on it
love,
now.
respect. Budweiser Kings of Football show is out. Thank you for watching. Love you guys.